you feel like time is passing too fast? I sure do. And I've been wondering, what if you could have 48 hours in a day? Of course, it's not possible in a literal sense, because there are only 24 hours in a day. But what if you were able to slow down your perception of time by half? And then every day would feel like 48 hours instead of 24 hours. You get what I mean? Okay, now, but how do you do that? How can you slow down the speed of time? I wanted to figure it out, so I created a highly unscientific experiment. First, I lived a day like I normally would. And that day acted as a reference point. It set my baseline for the speed of life. And my goal was to reduce that speed by half. In other words, to go from normal speed of life to half speed of life. And my hope was that if I ever got there, 24 hours would feel more like 48 hours. After hours of research, I came up with 3 steps to slow down time. The first one was to reduce time pressure. What I mean by time pressure is basically the relationship between the time that you have allotted for a task or activity and the time it actually will take to do that task or activity. So let's say you schedule this amount of time for a task, but it will actually take this amount of time to do it. There's high time pressure. Whereas if you schedule this amount of time for the task and it will actually take this amount of time, there is little or no time pressure. And this right here is what we're aiming for. And I tried a lot of things. I started adding a 50% buffer to my calendar events. I scheduled time off on Sundays. I already know this is going to be very difficult. I used Cold Turkey Blocker to create a 1-hour window so that I could only access my email between 5 and 6 p.m. So now if I try to go to Gmail, I'm just gonna say this website is blocked. For my tasks, I used a system mentioned in the book 4,000 Weeks, where you can basically only work on 3 tasks at any given time. So I'm gonna have all of my tasks on my computer in a digital format, but the 3 tasks that I wanna work on, I'm gonna write them down on a piece of cardboard. 1, 2, 3. And then the only way to write new tasks on this paper is to either finish previous tasks or completely abandon them. And then I can go back to my digital list, find the most important task for me to do at the moment and put it on the cardboard. Another big time sink is Netflix or any other video streaming service. Me and Attila, we usually spend like an hour each night watching Netflix. And I just feel like that's a bit too much. But I have an idea. Netflix jar. So here's what I suggest. So first it's gonna be empty, and then every day we get 1 Netflix token. And 1 Netflix token allows you to watch Netflix for 15 minutes. Okay? So let's say for 2 days we don't watch Netflix. We got 2 tokens, right? So how long can we watch Netflix now? 30 minutes! But there's more. You can also get a Netflix token by reading for 30 minutes. Basically, you can either go without Netflix for a while, or you can read a bunch. And that allows you to get more of these tokens, so that we can watch Netflix. Deal?
Yeah, I'm gonna start reading now.
Okay, cool. So I've now spent about 2 or 3 weeks trying to reduce time pressure, or in other words, trying to follow a new schedule and all the habits and routines I set out to follow. And I've got like mixed results. Some things seem to work, like the Netflix jar. It definitely has reduced the amount of Netflix we watch, and that in turn has made the time go a bit slower, especially in the evenings. I can also tell you that an hour spent reading definitely feels a lot longer than an hour spent watching Netflix. Like if you watch an hour of Netflix, what do you get out of it? Usually I can barely remember what happened in the episode. Just like the hour flies by. Also, having a free day on Sundays is quite the game changer, even though I'm still working to improve that. I still feel like I'm unable to really detach from all the work on Sundays. But Sunday is probably the longest day, the slowest day of the week for me, now that it's free. And I'm also noticing that I'm like just rarely present, even during hikes like this. I'm just thinking about work stuff or content or anything except this actual moment of walking here. But then most of the things didn't really make that much of a difference. For instance, setting an hour for email didn't really work because then it's just so easy to unblock the website blocker and go send an email if I really feel like it. And even though I'm supposed to be adding more buffer to my calendar events, I often find myself still scheduling them too tightly. But all of this, everything I've done thus far, it just kind of still feels like I'm just scratching the surface. I feel like my life is now moving forward at 90% of the speed that it used to be at the start of this experiment. So we're still not nearly at half speed. Have you ever had a day where you were distracted throughout the day, and at the end of the day, you wondered, what the hell happened that day? And why did the time pass so insanely fast? Me too. And it's a good example of how, if you're distracted all the time speeds up. So to slow down time even more, I had to come up with ways to control my thoughts better and focus more on the present. And that is a lot easier said than done. These are all the devices that can send me notifications. And I'm gonna make sure to turn off all notifications from all of these devices. No. Receive mobile notifications. Nope. Notifications. So if being more present is one way to slow down life, then meditation should be a very good way to slow down. Because I mean, it's practically just you being as present as possible. Look at that! Okay, so I have an idea. I'm gonna create something that every day reminds me of death. 23 times 15. So this thing has about 4,000 squares in it, and that's about the average human lifespan in weeks. So this is my life. This is what has passed, and this is what I have left, on average. I feel like the more you look at this, the more you realize how limited your time is. And like, I'm in the living room now, and I need to walk through here many times every day. And then I'll see this little reminder that I only have about 2,600 weeks left. We'll see if it's a good idea or if it's just grim, seeing that thing on the wall every day. There's something to just having a mindset of living slower. Like today, I've already many times just suddenly paused and just taken in the moment a bit. Just because I've literally tried to live slower today. You should allow yourself to pause sometimes, you know, just out of the blue. You should be able to just pause every once in a while, I think. It was pretty clear that thinking about time and death made me more grateful and made me save more time for important things. You know, I started calling my family more often, and I reserved more time for family in my calendar. For the first time ever, I sent Christmas cards to my friends and family. I had more video calls with friends. I started seriously questioning whether what I'm doing at the moment is the best use of my time, or whether I should be doing something else. I just feel like if I continue making videos like this, it's gonna burn out or something. And like, maybe it's not the right path for me to just make videos. Because when you feel like time is limited, you really want to spend that time well. And I think one of the best ways to spend your time is to spend it with family and friends. Even with all these changes, reducing time pressure, removing distractions, trying to be more mindful, I still felt like my life was hovering around 80% speed. And I really wanted to find something more fundamental that would really alter the speed of time. It is a bit chilly here. But it's like cold exposure yoga, the opposite of hot yoga. A bit weird, but fun. Think back to a week in your life when you did something novel. Maybe you traveled to a new place, or you tried a new sport, maybe you met some new people, or you ate something new. What happened to time? Mirror. Gotta have a mirror. I packed my car and I'm just gonna drive without much of a plan. I'm gonna spend a day visiting places I've never been to, doing things I've never done, and working in environments that I've never worked in. And then we'll see, you know, how long the day felt. Whoops. I have no idea where this path is going to take me. But it is a path, so. But then again, slowing down time isn't inherently good. For instance, you can make time slow down by looking at paint dry. But that's not what most of us would consider quality time or a fulfilling life. Similarly, when you're extremely interested in a topic and you're challenged in a positive way, you can achieve a flow state. And usually time flies by when you're in a flow state. But still, it's definitely worth it to experience those flow states. Well, goddamn, I don't know what to say. This is unbelievable. Like, who walks through the forest to eat lunch? Probably pretty much no one, but that's exactly the point. It's so novel. And it's pretty cool. Like, it was like a 10-minute walk plus setting up the camp, and now I will remember this lunch probably forever. I don't know. It's just like a reminder that you could have so many experiences if you just actively pursue new experiences, you know. But we miss most of them. Well, that was a long day. I think this is definitely the closest I've gotten to living at half speed during this whole experiment. This has been the slowest day thus far. Woo! So I think it's not so much about how fast the time feels. It's more about whether you feel like the way you used that amount of time was worthwhile. Yeah, I think that's it. I should definitely have taken my Schnozer here. What the hell? Also, if you would like to use a life calendar like this, I made a cooler version of it, which looks like this. It has 80 rows of 52 squares, so basically 80 years worth of weeks. And each square is numbered, first by year and then by week. And the print file for this is available for all my Patreons for free. And if you're not a Patreon, it's $5. But still, it's all on Patreon, so check it out.